Let's roll. Week 11 in the National Football League. Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching World of Matchups, where we break down the entire slate Sunday and Monday for your viewing pleasure and your eargasms. Hopefully you are making some money off me and Spencer. Spencer the Wiz on the other side of the glass, bringing the heat, producing, co-founding, and dropping knowledge. Spencer, what's going on this wonderful week 11, my friend?
Surviving. There's a really bad stomach flu going around Vegas, I think, and I got it, and it wasn't fun. I haven't eaten in a couple days, but doesn't mean I'm not going to watch football tomorrow, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. No matter what, football does not stop. Football is life. I could be on my deathbed and the Chiefs will be playing in the background. We got some interesting games going on this week, but before we get started, let me apologize fully to Mr. Todd Bowles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who absolutely blew up every single ticket that I had last week. Although I went 9-2-1 last week, my best bet did not come to fruition. And I owe the Tampa Bay Buccaneers an apology, because I told you I would apologize if they screwed me, and once again, they have screwed me just like they've screwed me all season long. So unlike people like Mad Dog Russo, who do not come through on what they say, I will come through. Here is your engraved apology, but you can bet your ass I'm still betting against you this week. To the slate. Game number 1. The Tennessee Titans, they fly to Jacksonville to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars, who got their doors blown off last week by the San Francisco 49ers, 34-3 at home. They are -7 versus the hapless Tennessee Titans, who I put so much faith in last week. I think the Jags bounce back here. I know Will Levis has looked good. I know that they have Derrick Henry, but Derrick Henry put on one of the worst performances of his entire career last week. DeAndre Hopkins is still not great. He's good, but not great. I just think after getting embarrassed at home, Jacksonville's going to come to play. They're 4-1 in their last 5. They're a well-coached team. The Niners were just on a business trip last week, man. There was nothing you can do about it. They were the better team. The Niners are a legitimate Super Bowl contender coming off their bye. Games like that are going to happen to teams. Now, the Jags are a bipolar team, but this is a get-right spot for them. If they can't handle Tennessee here, I don't think we're going to see Jacksonville be much of anything this year. So I'm going to lay the 7. I'm not going to lay it with confidence because I don't really trust Trevor Lawrence this year. He has been very disappointing. But they do have Travis Etienne, who can run the ball. They can control the clock. One of these days, Evan Ingram is going to score a touchdown. You know, one of these days, their wide receiver core is going to get it together outside of Christian Kirk. I mean, they really haven't done much. Christian Kirk has really saved them. So I'm kind of hoping that this is the week that you get, everyone else involved. Zay Jones is probably not going to play, got arrested. That whole thing is a mess. So there's really not a lot of confidence behind this 7 that I'm laying, other than they have great head coaching, pedigree there. Doug Peterson does have a Super Bowl ring. They have had time to lick their wounds, and they got a bad team at 3-6 coming in. This is a game that they should cover, but I'm telling you straight up, I'm not doing it with confidence. I'm doing it more on a hunch, hoping that one of these days this team will play to the level of the competition that they're playing and smash a bad team at home.
Yeah, I like the Jaguars. They're at home, and, the Titans just aren't playing for much anymore, to be honest with you. I think that, they had a little bit of a spark with Will Levis going into it, but it's kind of fading a little bit, and that just kind of makes sense. They don't have a very good all-around team. Defensively, they're strong, but once you start going down the list of wide receivers they're dealing with, it's like Hopkins and everyone else. Derrick Henry, it is what it is, but, these divisional games is kind of rough, so you can kind of almost never tell. But like I said, I don't know, going into a rookie when you have such a bad season going, it's just not a great position to be in. Mm-hmm. And like the week-to-week performances, I just don't think you're going to get any better. So I like the Jaguars here in this game.
Yeah, I like them a lot too. If you're feeling frisky, Calvin Ridley anytime touchdown. One of these days, it's going to pop. The guy's got way too much talent. I mean, to be this bad in an inaugural season with a new team after not playing for a year and showing up week 1 is absolutely deplorable. I mean, Christmas has to come early for this guy. Come on, dude. Score a touchdown. You have a decent quarterback versus a bad secondary. Next, The Los Angeles Chargers, they travel to Green Bay. They are -3 to take on the Packers. This is a tricky game for a lot of different reasons. We'll start with the Packers side of the ball. They're finally getting Aaron Jones right. Jordan Love is on again, off again, but he will play better in his building than he'll play on the road. That is definitely for sure. Their wideouts really don't inspire much. None of them have really done much. Romeo Dobbs has been okay. Christian Watson hasn't done anything after being decent last year. He's done nothing. He's another guy like Calvin Ridley. He's just done absolutely nothing. In flies Justin Herbert with the broken finger on his non-throwing hand, Austin Eckler, Quentin Johnson. I mean, Jalen Guyton is questionable. I don't know. This is the type of game where I see everyone thinking that home dogs will pay dividends and somehow that they'll just be galvanized enough to beat a fraudulent Charger team. And I'm just not there with the Packers. Normally I would be, but I'm not there. A.J. Dillon is nothing to me. I don't know. I think that this is a game where even shorthanded, they can go on the road and win this game by 3 points. I don't think it should be a problem. Jair Alexander is on the other side of questionable all year long. They got another guy all year long, man. Your best cover corner is not right all year long. They may hold him out again. I mean, Keenan Allen is going to play despite a shoulder injury. He's going to gut through it. He's a savvy veteran. He's having one of probably the best season of his entire career right now. I mean, he looks really, really good. And as long as you have the safety valve in Austin Eckler, I could see this team winning by 3 points, no problem on the road. The Packer defense is not that good. It's not as good as people say it is. Even in their building, I'd be really surprised if they pulled this one out. I mean, the X factor is Jordan Love. And they have an okay defense in L.A. The back end's not good, but the front four is good. I mean, Khalil Mack did have 6 sacks this year. We saw Joey Bosa blow all of New York up. I mean, they have moments, and if they have 1 or 2 of those moments here, they should be able to cover this 3. I don't like the Packers at all this year, and I really don't like them in this spot because if they get down 10, the game is over. They cannot come back from big leads. They have to play with the lead, and I see Justin Herbert throwing the ball all over the field. Their defense does play well versus quarterbacks in their building, but I still don't think it will be enough. And the scoop and score, something crazy is going to happen, and LA should win this game going away.
I agree with you. I mostly just don't like the Packers. I mean, that Steelers game last week, their defense is good, but they just get tired because the Packers offense can never really get it going.
They can't score.
I've never thought of, I don't think I've seen this entire year back-to-back good drives from the Packers. At some point to win NFL games, you have to be able to put points on the board consistently, and I don't think they have once this entire year. They had a nice little thing going at the end of that game, but it's just a little too late. And thinking about that, like the Chargers are going to score more than the Steelers. I mean, the Steelers offense is garbage. So when I piece all those things together, and I know, they have one of the best, home field advantages in the NFL, but the reality is this is a 3-6 football team. Upper management is probably thinking about a replacement at quarterback at this point. Everything's just trending down for them, and this is one of the best quarterback drafts. Whether or not it'll work out, who knows, right? No one knows about the draft, but I know that GMs are looking at 3 quarterbacks that could be taken inside the top 5, and I bet you the Packers want to get in on that at least a little bit. Not to say that they're going to lose the game on purpose, but I don't know. I mean, nothing is exciting about this Packers team. I like the Chargers in this game, and especially because they're desperate for a win. When you think about how desperate the Chargers are, how unserious it feels like the Packers are at every point in the season, to me, that is a recipe for success for the Chargers.
Yeah, to only be -3 here, I think is kind of suspect, honestly. I mean, if I'm the GM of the Packers, I'm definitely looking at Drake May. You're not going to land the biggest fish there, but I think you can crawl into the sweepstakes and get a guy like that. Jordan Love is not the answer. I mean, I thought he would be. I thought Jordan Love may go to Vegas. You guys at this point should probably be happy he didn't. The guy shows flashes. He's a pretty gifted athlete, but he's not a good quarterback. And I think especially if Jair Alexander is out in this game, Justin Herbert will play well enough to win this game by 3 points, maybe even a touchdown. I'm taking the Chargers here, and I'm taking them with confidence. I've taken Green Bay enough times at home and gotten screwed by them enough times at home to know that I'll probably never take them again there this season. Next, the New York Football Giants, they go to Washington to take on the Commanders in the worst stadium in the NFL next to State Farm Stadium in Arizona. That field stinks. That team stinks. The Giants stink. This is the toilet bowl, my friends, and they're giving up 8.5. That just goes to show you how absolutely awful the New York Football Giants are. Danny DeVito back under center again. We told you last week, and we said it with our chest, both of us, that if you're scared to lay this 17, you probably shouldn't be gambling on football. And everything we said came to fruition about that game. And so for that reason, I'm going right back to the well again. And I'm telling you right now, Sam Howell is going to carve this defense up like a Thanksgiving turkey. Adoree Jackson is out. All they have on defense in the way of shutting anybody down is Kayvon Thibodeau, and he is suspect right now because he has been dealing with some nicks and bruises. They have had nothing in the way of throwing to Jahan Dotson all last week. He's going to have a good game after getting 0 catches last week. McLaurin is good. Logan Thomas is good. Brian Robinson. This is the Brian Robinson game. Antonio Gibson is out. Brian Robinson has been really good. He was good for them last week. I'm telling you right now that I don't see a way the Giants score in this game. It's always going to be some third-string tight end or some practice squad player that gets called up that scores a garbage late touchdown when they're down by 21 points, and they'll lose 31-10. I just don't like the Giants this year. They have no reason to try to win. At this point, you want to rebuild this roster the best you can. They're damned if they do. They're damned if they don't, because they're stuck with Danny Dimes. It's either stuck with him or take the hugest pay cut to give a player away, probably in the history of the whole New York Giants franchise. And so I think Sam Howell will do enough. 8.5 is a lot. But the Giants are putrid. They're really bad, man. I don't think they're going to win another game this year. If I'm Brian Daboll, I'm starting Matt Barkley, but they see something in DeVito that they like. He does have legs, but I just don't think it'll be enough. Washington has hung in more games this year than I care to admit, and I haven't given Sam Howell the credit that he has deserved. The guy has leading the league in passing, I believe. I think that is enough to cover the 8.5, even if it's just barely. The Giants are horrendous. Take Washington and take them with confidence, despite both of their major players in Sweat and Young being traded and the back end of their defense being a sieve.
Yeah, this is what I think the reality of it is. I think that there are a lot of different quarterbacks who give the Giants a chance to win this game, but I think this is what happened. Head coach goes to the GM, says, hey man, this DeVito guy is garbage. He won't be on the team next year. And they said, that's the point. I think they want to go into the top 3, and I think they want to trade back, and they're going to stick with Danny Dimes. They're going to stick with Daboll. So they're not tanking per se, but they are by playing Danny DeVito, if that makes sense, right? He's saying, we're not going to give you a replacement, man. You're going to have to deal with it, and it's what going to is, be what it is. Your job is safe. I'm not firing you. I'm not telling you to lose, but, the players
you're putting you to win.
Yeah. So it's like, I'm not going to help you out is basically what they're saying. And it's like, dude, you got Danny Dimes next year. I don't care what your record is. We want to be in the top 3. We want to trade out because it's one of the best quarterback drafts in a very long time. We're going to get that big package to set us up. Those trade backs are obviously very valuable. And I just think it's, that's just the reality of the situation. It's probably not the best thing for Giants fans to listen to, but hey, they're 2-8. So what are you really going to do? Yeah. I always talk about this all the time. There's only one thing that matters in football: winning the Super Bowl. And if you're not winning the Super Bowl, you need to work towards winning the Super Bowl. And there's nothing they can do now. They got it. The best thing they can do is look to the future. Punting on a season is never fun, but it's also the reality of the team right now. So
that's it,
yeah, there's not enough points in this game. It could be 10, and I would still be on the Commanders. They just can't score. DeVito's not an NFL quarterback. I'd be surprised if he makes a roster next year.
He's a practice squad quarterback, yeah.
Yeah, at best. He looks like a future XFL star to me. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I love the Commanders here. If I'm going to take them on every teaser ticket humanly possible.
Yeah, just listening to you break this down, it makes me think that honestly, they have no reason to rush Darren Waller back. They have no reason to rush anyone back who's on IR.
Everyone's injury is going to be lingering.
Play all your second stringers. Do the best that you can out there. And, you really have to make up for the Danny Dimes situation, which has been an absolute nightmare. Get everything you can and see what you can do in the offseason. The Giants should probably finish this year 2-14, 2-15. There's no reason to win. There really is no reason to win, and it sucks. but at least you guys can bust out your 86, your 1990 Super Bowl VHS if you still have a VCR. Watch those and enjoy your holiday season. Next, the Raiders. They head to Miami, take on the Dolphins in South Beach. Dolphins are minus 13.5, coming off a really bad loss to Kansas City in Frankfurt and their bye. Raiders have won 2 in a row, beating both New York teams in convincing fashion, but nothing flashy about it. You have the Antonio Pierce regime has started off hot. I'm going to tell you that despite them getting 13.5, I cannot take the Raiders here. I think they're walking into a buzzsaw here. I really do. I think Miami has listened now for 2 weeks about people saying that they're just not that team after losing to Kansas City, after talking all that garbage and then losing. They're just in that second tier down. They're not a championship level team yet, when they probably think that they are. And a couple things are working here against the Raiders. Number one, anytime you see Miami go off, they're at home. Anytime. They hung 70 on the Broncos at home. They at any given time, they can go crazy. And so that's number one. Number two, the Raiders are playing with smoke and mirrors right now. The Jets are terrible. The Giants are terrible. Yes, you get 2 wins in a row. Yes, it's a new regime. Yes, everyone's galvanized. But you really haven't been able to get your stars the ball. Okay? You've won because the other team has been worse than you, not because you've been better than the other team. That's not going to fly here. It's not going to be enough. Waddle is healthy. Hill is healthy. Mostert is healthy. Berrios and Smythe are on the other side of questionable, but does that matter? Those guys don't really get the ball anyway. And I think that this could be the type of game where you actually see the Miami defense play pretty well. I think you guys get absolutely destroyed here. I'm going to lay the 13.5, and I'm going to lay it with confidence. Anytime I feel like a blowout is coming, I'm just going to go with the blowout. I don't see how Vegas is going to score. Your top players, Josh Jacobs and Devontae Adams, they'll be involved. But, let's say it's 10-0 Miami. That takes Jacobs out of the game, and now you have to throw to Devontae, and they're going to double him. So you really are banking on Michael Mayer, you know what I mean, and Jacoby Myers, which is that enough to go on the road and win? I don't think so. I think Miami wins big here. I think they get back into the win column and feeling good about themselves because they're really tired of hearing people say that they're not as good as they think they are. Mike McDaniels is an offensive guru, and you're going to see the playbook wide open tomorrow.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I am going to take the Dolphins, but I don't know. I do think there's a reality where the pass rush gets to Tua. Tua is the weak point of the Miami Dolphins, in my opinion. He's had some really good games, but I can't tell you how many times I've seen just, he's under pressure and he just throws like a little duck and it's like an interception. Those are the kinds of things that I think can change the game. If Max Crosby has like a defensive player of the year type of performance, the game gets a lot closer than I think it should be. I don't know. It's so hard to get a read on this Raiders team, but that's just every year for the past 20 years, hasn't it? I mean, this is what I've grown up with. The 5-5 Raiders, needing a win to get closer to the playoffs. They'll lose this week. They'll win against the Chiefs somehow the week after. You know what I mean? It just feels like that. And this is a story as old as time. I mean, obviously I'll be rooting for the Raiders, but yeah, I don't know. They're a very aggressive defense, obviously, under Antonio Pierce, and that's kind of been the identity that they've been under. And I think that bodes well, but yeah, I mean, Miami is they're about to explode.
They're a high-powered offense.
The Raiders have played the best teams in the league at the absolute worst times this year. When they played the Bills right after they took that horrible loss to the Jets, and now, the Dolphins are questionable, because no one thinks that they could win big games. So, yeah, and the Raiders also can't beat the Dolphins, over the past 10 years. I mean, it's just so annoying. This is the one team, no matter what, that the Raiders just can't seem to beat. So, yeah. I hate it, but yeah, I think I'm going to take the Dolphins here. But there is a reality in my mind that the Raiders can find a way to make this a lot closer than most people think.
Yeah, if Max Crosby gets his hand on a loose ball or two, maybe. But I just, like you said, I think they're running into this team at the absolute wrong time. You know what I mean? Coming off a bye, schemed up, you're traveling. Honestly, you know what, man? This is my best bet. I'm going to make this my best bet. I don't see a world where this game is close. I really don't, man. Miami struggles with good teams and blows bad teams out especially at home. Aiden O'Connell's going to be a deer in headlights. I think they destroy this team, honestly. I think the luster comes off a little bit of the Raiders' new mystique, and I think Miami gets back into the hunt. They're seeing what's happening all over the league. You know what I mean? Mark Andrews out. That knocks the Ravens down a little bit. Joe Burrow out. That knocks the Bengals down for a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, guys are hurt. You know, the Eagles lose their tight end. You know what I mean? Like, they are like, dude, we can still get in here. These injuries are keeping us in here. We just have to win our games. We can't lose any more close games, and we can't lose games to bad teams, which, coming off a bye, this is house money, man. I bet my life tomorrow on Miami minus the 13.5. It's not that much. 31-13 covers, and they could score 30 points in the first quarter. Next, the Arizona Cardinals, they head to Houston to take on the Texans. Texas are -6. I bet my life last week on Cincinnati, man. I only had 3 losses, but the 3 losses were bad losses because I said them all with my chest, and that was one of them. And again, you and I were like, man, I don't see a way Houston can beat the Cincinnati team. And what did they do? They went out and Devin Singletary, I thought was going to have 2 yards. He got 150 yards rushing. The guy's 5'7", like 170 pounds. What is happening? And now they're home versus a Cardinal team that we both call to win. Kudos to us. And the Cardinals are now with Kyler Murray. They're feeling good. Trey McBride. They get Connor back. All of a sudden, they're looking like a decent team. Like an NFL ball club all of a sudden. You know, Jonathan Gannon's got his team, and let's see what they can do on the road versus a team that everyone is going to expect to go crazy. This is a tricky one. Dameon Pierce is out. Noah Brown is out. Nico Collins is back in. And then there's C.J. Stroud, man, who literally is in the MVP conversation. Dude, I told you guys. I don't know what you guys weren't seeing. You know what I mean? I don't get it. He is the prototypical NFL franchise quarterback. Height, size, harm, acumen, and he's hungry, man. Dad's in jail, wants to play hard for his pop. I mean, all that stuff matters. And I love C.J. Stroud. And so I'm not going to bet against him anymore. I'm going to take him here minus the 6. The Arizona Cardinals can't win 2 in a row, can they? You know what I mean? Houston is home. 6 sounds like a lot, but it really isn't. Touchdown wins the bet. And again, even if they can't run the ball in Houston, C.J. Stroud has enough pieces there to throw the ball all over the field. Dalton Schultz has come on very strong the last month or so. I like Nico Collins at any time for a touch. They're going to be in this game. There's no way around it. They're going to be in this game, and this is a team that they should beat, honestly. The Cardinals are another one of those teams. Like, should they really be trying to win? You know what I mean? Showcase Kyler. Costco Kyler. But don't win. Because you're only going to make your team better by doing that, because you're going to get rid of him, and maybe you can get a big fish. This draft is going to be a good one. And so even if they don't land another QB, there's players to be had, man. Marvin Harrison Jr. is a stud. You know, like, you want your hands on one of these players if you're Arizona. Why would you want to go out trying to win? Doesn't make sense to me. And for these reasons, I'm gonna take the Texans here, man. I think they win a 10-point game at home. I think their defense comes up bigger than people are going to expect. Their defense is quietly playing really solid football, and nobody is saying anything about them. And so I'm going to throw them a bone here. Here's your flowers, Houston D. Make me look good tomorrow, fellas. Minus the 6, cover it, and let's roll.
Oh, man. I agree with you, but there's just something in the pit of my stomach where this is probably going to be like the nation's best bet. You know what I mean? The Texans. I know. And there's just something about that in the NFL that just makes me think that the Cardinals are going to find a way to cover or like even win this game. I'm taking the Cardinals on a teaser ticket this week for sure. I love something like a plus 12. I mean, that seems too good.
That's juicy.
I could see a world where the Cardinals get blown out of the water, and I'm just wrong about this. But something deep inside my gut just tells me, I don't know, man. Everybody, it's too easy. Minus 6 doesn't seem right. You know what I mean? It doesn't
seem right. I know.
And Kyler Murray played pretty well last week. He looks like Kyler Murray.
He looks good. Yeah, he does.
So I don't know. I'm going to take the Cardinals just because I have a gut feeling, and I like to trust my gut at least on one game.
One game. Yeah, no, it's not out of the realm of possibility that they cover the 6, and quite frankly, it's not out of the realm of possibility that they win this game outright. The Kyler Murray that I saw last week was the Kyler Murray everyone wanted when he was drafted. He looked fabulous. And Trey McBride has come out of nowhere, and he's looked really, really good. You know, Houston, they don't cover tight ends well. So this is not crazy. I'm banking on covering on one thing and one thing only, and that's C.J. Stroud. The guy's been unstoppable until I see someone stop this guy cold, not beat him, but stop him cold, where they lose a big game. I'm taking them because they can score. They can score, man. That's all of a sudden the Houston Texans. How do you bet against them? It's crazy. What happened? I'll tell you what happened. They got a franchise quarterback. Listen, you guys look at me out there that are watching this that wish your team was good. Ask yourself this one question. Do I have a franchise quarterback? Because if you don't, you're never going to be good until you get one. Period. End of statement, and I will die on this hill. I will fight with anyone. I will debate this to my last breath. Lamar, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Big Ben, Peyton Manning. I could go on and on and on. And does it always hit? No. Sometimes it's going to be Phillip Rivers. Sometimes it's going to be Jordan Love. But you're not going to know until you try. Sell your farm for a franchise quarterback, and you could be one day the Houston Texans. Next, the Bears. They head to Detroit to take on the Lions. Lions are -7.5. I mean, there's no secret here, if you've been watching this podcast, how much I love the Lions. I've been loving the Lions since last year. Right now, next to my team, the Kansas City Chiefs, my favorite team to watch is Jared Goff and the Lions. And I will go as far as saying this. If you have any balls or you have money to burn, place a futures bet on the Lions to win the NFC. Because they can. They absolutely can. The Lions can beat anyone in the NFC on any given day, anywhere. Anywhere. They could beat the Eagles. They could beat the Niners. Y'all may not think so, but you're wrong. Why? I'll give you a couple reasons why. Number one, they have a coach with balls. Number two, they have the best run game. They got the two-headed monster working in their favor right now. And they got the sun god. Sam Laporta's good. Their offense is good. Their defense is coming on. Hutchinson. Can you imagine a world where Jalen Carter's on the other side of Aiden Hutchinson Spencer? Good Lord. I mean, I know Jahmyr Gibbs has worked out for them, but man. Whew. That's like Chase Young and Nick Bosa Jr. right there. In comes the Chicago Bears. Now, I know they're getting Justin Fields back. I get it. I get that. But I just watched this team go into a decent environment versus a very good quarterback and win a game that no one thought they would win but you and me. I love the Lions here. I think they blow this team out. I think it will be close for a while, but eventually that run game is going to be too much for that defense. Chicago's another team that really has no reason to try here. What do you gain from winning this game if you're a Bear? You get nothing. If anything, you get to showcase Justin Fields, who may not be back next year. Eberflus is gone. So where does that leave Justin Fields in year 4? See what I mean? The Detroit Lions have everything to play for. They're 7-2. They're a very strong team. They get better every single week. Dan Campbell, to me, is coach of the year. I'm never going to back off that either. The guy is an absolute master motivator, and he's a decent coach with balls. 4th and 1, their field goal kicker is useless. He's useless. Inside the 20, because he's going for it. And I love that. That shows a galvanizing spirit about your offense. They're going to run through a wall for this guy. There's no team in the NFL that loves their coach more than the Lions love Dan Campbell. 7.5 ain't enough here, man. And I'll wipe the egg off my face if I'm wrong, but I don't see DJ Moore and Justin Fields doing enough to win this game. Khalil Herbert will be back. Deonta Foreman, Lions at home, man. Let me tell you, get your Thanksgiving turkey ready. Everyone is used to the Lions that just stink up the joint. We're not going to watch the first game. We'll just wait for Dallas to come on. You know what I mean? We'll argue about politics game 1. No, you're going to be in front of the TV watching the Lions this year. I'm telling you. this team. I love this team. And I'm telling you, you know what, man? If I could find someone, I may just throw that futures bet. It's not a bad futures bet because if it hits, you're getting paid. You're getting paid. You've seen the Niners lose games this year they shouldn't have lost. The Eagles are losing Monday, and they are without their starting tight end. So I'm telling you right now, they're not unbeatable either. I'm telling you, if you guys have any sense in your head, you'll listen to what I'm saying. I've seen the maturation of a team over time. I've seen this happen with other teams. This is a dangerous football team. They are dangerous, and I think they blow the Chicago Bears out tomorrow. Take them with confidence. I love the Lions.
Yeah, the Lions are my best bet this week. This is a very bad Bears team, and I don't know. I don't know what that locker room feels like, but that Badgett kid has been playing as well, if not better, than Justin Fields. And
no, they're happy to get Fields back.
I don't know. I don't know if the fan base, like where their temperature check is. The Bears are just a mess, and I talked about this, during the off season where you have all this cap space and you just like want to fill it in and just get whoever. They trade for what's his name and overpay him. Guys making more money than Max Crosby. I don't know. I don't like anything about the Bears. You're right. They're going to fire Matt Eberflus, and I could have told you that the day they hired him. We pretty much did.
We laughed when we heard that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just ridiculous.
I remember us being in the studio laughing like, who the hell is Matt Eberflus? We looked at each other like, what?
You have a guy in Justin Fields who desperately needs like a modern kind of offense, and you hire like a defensive-minded coach. It just doesn't make any sense. And the Lions have proved, especially as the season goes on, like you said, that they're just not prone to like weird losses. Like they just seem to have I can't say the word, to push through. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. They just push through these things and these like old adages of football where, just like you should win this game, but you never know. I think the Lions aren't, about that. And they look really, really strong. I mean, they are just getting ready for a really tough playoff push. I mean, nobody in the playoffs wants to play them. That's
nobody.
For sure.
Nobody. I stand 10 toes down on that, dude. Nobody wants to see them first round. Nobody. I don't want to see them again. I believe we would have won that game if we'd have caught one pass. You know what I mean? Are they better than the Chiefs? No, but dude, they can play with us. They can play with anyone, bro. I'm telling you.
Yeah, they can definitely play with anybody, and they're at home. It's one of the best. I mean, the Lions have just been begging for a good team forever. So now that they're here,
decades.
Detroit is just exploding at home. So I mean, it is just unreal. I think it's the best home field in the NFL this year.
Now.
I don't think the Chicago Bears are going to be able to do much in this game, if at all.
I don't think so at all, man. I mean, I watched that entire game last week when they went into LA, and it turned into a shootout. But the way that Campbell coaches, man, I'm like, damn, I wish that was my coach. You know what I mean? Like they're like, they don't even think about it when it's 4th and 1. Goff is just like back in the huddle. Other quarterbacks are looking at their coach. Goff is like, huddle up because we're going for this shit. I'm like, man, these guys are a strong team, and that's a big win. That is a big win. That tells LA that their season is pretty much over. Even though you thought it wasn't. That's a big win, man. Covering Keenan Allen's it's a big draw. Stopping Austin Eckler, that's a big deal, man. And so I think they do it again here with ease. Now, if they blow this game, I may step back on them a little bit, but I just can't see it happening, man. They're going to roll this team. Next. Tricky game. Pittsburgh Steelers head to Cleveland to take on the Browns, who have lost Deshaun Watson for the year, man. A lot of injuries this year, Spencer. My goodness. A lot of injuries. We thought P.J. Walker would get the start, but he was absolutely horrible. 1 touchdown, 5 picks in his short-lived stint as the head, the starting QB. And so they bring in, Dorial Green-Beckham to start versus a Steeler defense that's nothing to play around with. I don't like this game at all. I like the under, which is 32.5. I mean, that's probably one of the lowest unders of the season. I think it might be the lowest under, and I would still go under here because I just don't see how these teams are going to score. They're really good defenses. Both of them are really good. I mean, I don't know. Jalen Warren's been given the task finally to be the starting running back because I think Najee Harris is slow as molasses, and it's well-deserved. I think it's a bad week for them to do that to him. because the Cleveland defense is fantastic. Myles Garrett's still right there, and head-to-head versus T.J. Watt, he's come on the other end. I heard somebody break down their last eight games head-to-head versus each other, and T.J. Watt definitely has had the edge, and I think Myles Garrett knows that. At home, I think he's going to find a way to really disrupt what Kenny Pickett is trying to do, and Kenny Pickett's another one. I mean, that's a big swing and miss. They took Kenny Pickett because he went to Pitt. He stinks. I'm sorry. Kenny Pickett stinks, man. And so Juan Thornhill is out for Cleveland. I don't know, man. Cleveland -2. I guess I'm going to take the Browns just because they're home. Beckham, this Dorial Green Beckham kid is a wild card. No one really knows what it could be, and it could be something good. Pittsburgh did win a big game last week, and I'm here to tell you cannot keep winning these games this way. Pittsburgh wins these games getting outgained every single week. That cannot continue. It just can't. They don't get Pickens the ball. I know they're getting Freiermuth back, but again, Kenny Pickett stinks, man. I think that defense is going to be all over him. It's going to take a special team score, a defensive touchdown for one of these teams to win and cover, and I'm just going to take the home team. I'm not doing it with a whole lot of confidence. I saw somebody this week in one of my groups say that they thought that Mike Tomlin has got an argument for being the best coach of all time. Because he's never had a losing season, and what he's doing with this team right now is just unprecedented. But I just don't think it's sustainable. They're 6-3, but who have they beaten? They've beaten scrubs, but they've beaten them. I just cannot see it continuing here in Cleveland. I just can't. So I'm going to lay the 2, but I'm not going to lay it with confidence.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Steelers. Just the quarterback situation for the Browns is so bad, and the Steelers' defense is good. It's a division game, so the line is close as expected. I don't know. I think the Browns are looking elsewhere for a quarterback, and they're just kind of weighing their options right now. I mean, P.J. Walker was in for a little bit. The guy just throws too many interceptions, so in comes this random guy.
You're going to see him on Sunday. He's going to play.
I think you will. I don't think this other guy's going to last very long. I saw at least a good couple throws from P.J. Walker here and there, So, yeah, I'm going to take the Steelers. Not really much to say about this game. These two teams are great defensively, horrible offensively. Yeah, you're right. I mean, especially on a tease or something, you get closer to 40.
Tease the under. Tease the under up.
I would just be shocked if these teams were just trading touchdowns. It's got to be an impossibility. It's going to be another one of those Steelers games that comes down to the last second. They've won them recently, but who knows, man? You're right. I don't think it can last forever, but I'll still take the Steelers just because they have a better quarterback by as a slight edge.
I guess. I don't know. Kenny Pickett's one of those franchise quarterback misses that I was just talking about. I don't think his ceiling is ever going to get any higher.
Yeah, he's in the Derek Carr range, man.
He's worse than Carr. He's worse than Carr. Dude, George Pickens is on your team. Deontay Johnson's on your team. You've got ballers. You put a decent quarterback with those two, and they're both 1,000-yard receivers. I don't know. Mike Tomlin, I take my hat off to you. I was calling for you to get fired a couple years ago, and you've proved me wrong, but I would pump the brakes on this greatest coach of all time nonsense. Your team's not that good. You haven't beat who? Somebody come on the show and tell me the signature win the Steelers have had this year. Next, the Dallas Cowboys go to Carolina. They're -10.5 versus a horrendous Panther team. I don't know how this is only 10.5, honestly. I'm laying a lot of big spreads this week. This is going to be one of them. Adam Thielen hasn't scored in a while. The Lusters come off that big start. Bryce Young has been horrendous this year, and I think that the Dallas Cowboys are feeling good, man. Now, they beat up on a really bad Giants team, but they really beat them bad. They're practicing plays in game bad. When you score almost 50 versus an NFL team, you're feeling good the next week, and then you're going to take on a rookie quarterback with a horrendous line, a horrendous coach, horrendous GM, horrendous wide receivers, and the only decent tight end you have is not playing. I don't see how this is only 10.5. I'm taking the Cowboys with confidence. Dak gets a lot of hate, man. And yes, Dak is the black Derek Carr at times. at times, but there's no denying what him and CeeDee Lamb have been managing to do. Jake Ferguson is very good. One of these days, Tony Pollard will play well. One of these days, it's going to happen. And then you have the Brandon Cooks. Those guys are going to sprinkle in and do what they do. I mean, this is a very good football team, and I can't see them losing to Carolina at all. I give them less than a 1% chance of losing this game to Carolina. I really do. And I give Carolina maybe a 5% chance of covering the 10.5. They are just not good. Bryce Young has not been able to get anything going, and I blame the coaching because he is a talented kid, but he's small. I mean, number 11 is Micah Parsons is going to be all over him. He's going to get baptized. He's going to get baptized on Sunday. That's really the bottom line. And Frank Reich takes the play calling back. I don't think it matters, man. Once you start doing this shuffling of, well, it's your job, then it's my job. No, then it's your job again. I mean, that just shows dissension. It just shows it's just a poor effort all around by Carolina. I think Frank Reich is done. I'm calling that right now. The next coach to be fired in the NFL will be Frank Reich. He has done a horrible job with what he's been given. And again, for Carolina to not find their way into like a Jerry Jeudy or a Courtland Sutton or one of these other guys out there who could have been traded. Meanwhile, you gave up the farm to get Bryce Young, and now you can't give up to give him some help. It's just a bad look all around, and Dallas is a very, very strong team. They may have lapses in judgment here and there and put up some stinkers here and there, but versus bad teams, this is what I know. Versus bad teams, Dallas beats bad teams really badly. And I think that's what happens here. I don't think Carolina stands a chance. I'm taking that 10.5. I'm rolling that up. I'm lighting it, and I'm smoking it.
Yeah, the sports books seem to be afraid of points this year, but I'm not. I mean, it's the worst team in the NFL, obviously. How do you not trade Brian Burns and get at least a little bit back for him? It's like, what is he doing this year for you at all? Nothing. You traded away all of your team for, Bryce Young. Brian Burns isn't going to be around much longer.
And you did nothing to help him.
Find a good deal for him? Like, I don't know. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And like
Chiefs would have taken him.
I heard a report, and this is all I really need to know. This is like my second best bet. Is Frank Reich was talking about how they're going to do a silent count because they're afraid the stands are going to be filled with Cowboys. It's going to be like a pseudo home game for them. I mean, where's your franchise at when that's the situation that you're dealing with? It's kind of unbelievable. So yeah, 10.5 is not nearly enough. This is going to be like a 24 to 10 game.
After they're scoring more. They're scoring 30. They're scoring 30.
This is unreal to me. Yeah,
they're scoring 30.
No,
this
not enough.
This spread could be 14 and no one would bat an eye. That's why I think there's something fishy, but I'm still laying it because the Dallas defense is good and that offensive line is horrendous. Carolina stinks. They're the worst team in the league, period. The odds makers must know something we don't because I think this could be as high as 15. I'd still lay it. I watched that Thursday night game with Bryce Young versus the Bears, and he could not get anything going versus the Bears.
First down just feels like an uphill battle for the
Dude, you're
Panthers.
Like pleading, sweet baby Jesus, give me a first down. Like, that's bad. Versus a bad secondary, they're going to get destroyed on Sunday. Next, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they head to San Francisco to take on the 49ers, who just beat the Jacksonville Jaguars to death. Niners minus 12. I'm going to tell you going in the door, I'm taking Tampa Bay plus the 12 here. I like the 12. Now, I'm taking them plus the 12 for a couple different reasons. Number one, they're not at home, so they can't screw me at home anymore. This team plays a lot better on the road. They covered versus a bad Buffalo team, which I told everybody they would. They win games on the road. They beat the Vikings week 1 on the road. Their strength is their pass game. They're going to be down in the game. We know this. These are well-documented facts. San Francisco is going to come out firing on all cylinders. They're feeling themselves, but they might be feeling themselves a little too much and just expect to roll this game. Folks, Mike Evans is still Mike Evans. Put some respect on this man's name. He's on his way to his 150th straight 1,000-yard season. Okay? Chris Godwin is good. Rashad White has played very well. Kate Otten is more than serviceable. And look, I don't care what you say about Baker. he's still better than about 10 NFL quarterbacks. And he has moxie. I'll take those 12 points. The San Francisco defense Achilles heel is their secondary. Folks, did you know this? Because I didn't know this. 3 out of the last 4 games that the San Francisco 49ers have played, their secondary has given up 330 yards. 300 plus yards. I will take those 12 points. I don't care how it looks. They're going to cover this game. Backdoor covers are still covers. I will take Tampa Bay in this game. They're playing hard for Todd Bowles. They showed me up last week when I talked so much garbage about them. I'm going to take them here. No one's going to think that they're going to be in this game. Why? Because, well, the Niners went to Jacksonville and they beat Jacksonville by 40, so they should beat Tampa Bay by 40. No, guys. That's not how this works. Styles make fights. Teams are different week to week. They play different week to week. Injuries week to week. And a lot of times these teams just expect to show up and steamroll, and they forget that there's another team, another professional football team getting paid real green money on the other side, where their family's in the stands, where they're watching, where they're trying to make the playoffs, where they're trying to showcase for another team. There are so many different intangibles that go into each game. Do not get gassed. 12 is too much here. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is how is this line larger than the Cowboys-Carolina game? That is really where things start to get confusing to me. Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like the logical thing is to take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and yeah, my gut is telling me just to take them. You know, there's something weird. Like the line is too big. This feels like what should be 10.5 to me.
Agreed.
Yeah, I like Tampa Bay here. I mean, the 49ers have been fairly inconsistent this year, like at best, in my opinion. I have no confidence in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win this game by any means, but yeah, I'm going to take them. And I just like the moxie from, Baker Mayfield. Chase Young and Bose obviously is a great dynamic duo, but I think the ball's going to get out of his hands pretty quick this week. And yeah, like a touchdown at the end, they're down by 15 points or so, a little garbage touchdown at the end to cover. And I think that Baker Mayfield's going to play to the last snap of the game, and I think that bodes well for covering. So yeah,
I like the over in this game. It's 41.5.
Yeah,
I think that's not enough, man. I think Purdy goes nuts
of the game,
because you can throw on Tampa Bay and you can throw on San Francisco. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of points, man. That's juicy. Boy, that's juicy.
There's something wrong about this game. I feel like it's wrong. All the numbers are wrong.
5. That's juicy. I'm jumping on that, man. Boy, I'm including that in a teaser. I may even tease that up just to be safe. But yeah, I love the Buccaneers plus the 12 here. I just don't see a world where they don't cover this. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. The Niners have shown me that they can have lapses. They lost to the freaking Browns, for Christ's sake. Next, Seattle Seahawks. They go to LA to take on the Rams. Rams are back with Matthew Stafford, the thumb injury. They're throwing him out there. Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp. Well, they can't run the ball much, but will it matter? All they got to do is win the game. I said last week that if Seattle couldn't bludgeon a bad Washington team in their own building, that they're kind of fraudulent. And I'm going to stand by that. Something tells me that the Rams are going to win this game. Don't know what. Geno Smith, to me, has not looked good at all. He looks like the Geno who got paid, not the Geno who was trying to get paid. Tyler Lockett is very questionable, and even if he plays, I don't think it matters. I think DK Metcalf has been a huge disappointment. And something's telling me about Ken Walker not surviving this season. These guys have had bumps and bruises all year long. I'm not so sure about which way I want it to go here, but when I don't know, I take the home team. I don't see there being a ton. The over-under in this game is higher than the over-under in the last game we just talked about, which is crazy. I don't understand that at all, but we'll see what happens. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the Rams here. And I'm going to take them with confidence. Yeah,
for sure. Seattle is just, they're 6-3, but they're on the same level as the Steelers. They're just as bad, in my opinion. Matthew Stafford is back. I think that's a huge thing. That Commanders game last week for the Seattle Seahawks, I kind of knew it was coming, but it's still weird to see the Seattle Seahawks. they should on paper be so good. And again, like they do have a nice record, but the Rams, I think they do have. It's not like they don't have anything to play for because of how bad things are. But at the same time, like they still have Matthew Stafford, they still have all these players. They have the, the basic outline of a playoff team. So I don't think any team wants to play them on a week-to-week basis just because they're really scrappy. The Rams are at home. And, it's not like I don't think a bunch of Seahawks fans are going to travel. Like normally the Rams' biggest weakness is that everybody goes to, anywhere around there. It ends up being a home team for the other guys. But I don't think that's going to be the case this week. I think Puka goes off. Nothing about the Seahawks excite me. And I would be willing to do like a little money line on the Rams, like maybe a 2-teamer and just you get like a lot of plus points there. So, yeah, I'm on the Rams this week.
Yeah, I like the Rams too. Just something about Seattle, man. Jamal Adams is overrated. The Seattle Seahawks never do what you need them to do. You know what I mean, Spencer? They're that team. Like when you need them to show up big and just blow a team out that they're way better than, they just never do. They're good, but I think the fact that Geno Smith has just not been himself is going to be enough here. I think they turn the ball over. I think having Aaron Donald on the other side is always going to be a problem. I don't care who else he's surrounded by. He's a one-man wrecking crew that can still change the game by himself, even in the later stages of his career. I'm taking the Rams with confidence here. Next, the Jets. Jets, Jets. They head to Buffalo to take on the fraudulent Buffalo Bills. And I want my flowers. I told you all last week that Denver was going to go in there and cover that 7, and none of you wanted to listen to me. You all got gassed by how bad the Bills did. The Bills are absolute frauds. There is no more fraudulent team in the NFL than the Buffalo Bills. I'm saying it with my chest. I will keep saying it with my chest. That window is closed. I don't care that they fired the OC. Josh Allen is on the cover of Madden, and he gets his freaking OC fired. Poetic justice. He didn't belong there to begin with. Sean McDermott, this is his last year in Buffalo. That Super Bowl window is closed. I've been telling you that since week 5. Now, all that being said, in come the lifeless, hapless, helpless Jets and Zach Wilson, who are terrible. This is a division game. Buffalo in their building again. I'm going to lay the 7 with the Buffalo Bills just because I watched Zach Wilson absolutely stink up the joint versus the Raiders. I mean, he is horrendous. Garrett Wilson ain't 100%. They're going to stack the ball versus Breece Hall and dare him to do anything. New OC might just start running the ball. Anytime the Bills had any success on Monday or Sunday, was it Monday night? On Monday night, they ran the ball. They gave the ball to James Cook and Latavius Murray, and they actually did well. You cannot play hero ball and win week in, week out. Josh Allen, when forced to throw, is going to turn the ball over. It's just that simple. So I think that OC is going to dial it down, try to keep him in that position so he has a job moving forward. And I think it'll be enough to beat the Jets here. The Jets defense is good, but if you can't score, you can't win, man. You can't win. And Zach Wilson is horrendous, man. My goodness, another example of swinging and missing for a franchise quarterback. You have to get the right one, but at least they've tried. I give the Jets, they tried. Some teams won't even try. They'll just keep recycling Alex Smith, Joe Flacco, Baker Mayfield. Go get yourself a franchise quarterback. And I think that this game is what you were expecting to see last week. I think you're going to see it this week when you were like, Josh Allen's going to have his best game of the year. Watch it be this week. I'm taking the Bills minus the 7 with confidence. The Jets do nothing for me. I was up big, bet the Jets, and then they ruined my weekend.
Yeah, gosh, this is a game this week that I can't get a good read on it. I don't know. The 7 points just feels like a lot. Josh Allen's good for an interception or 2 in this game for sure, but I don't know if it's enough just because Zach Wilson just can't move the ball. He has these flashes here and there. I don't really know what to make of the whole thing. I mean, that was just a rough game they played against the Raiders. It looked like they were going to win for a while there, but it just kind of fell apart there at the end. I don't know. I'm going to take the Jets just because I think the game's going to be close. I just think Josh Allen, the Jets, I do believe, are the best defense in the NFL. I mean, if they had Aaron Rodgers, this is a 7-win team at this point in the season. That you can take away some of these losses. Yeah, they're
They're a
definitely
playoff
a
team.
playoff team. And I think Zach Wilson could play just enough to keep this close, just like a game-winning field goal, or maybe they win by 4, something like that. The new offensive coordinator, I think, definitely does help the Bills because it adds a level of, mystery to the team that I think they need a little bit, because it feels like they've been a little predictable. And maybe they will run the ball a little bit. And I think the more they run the ball, the better it helps this game stay close, because there's just less time on the clock. I think both teams will be running the ball a lot. So, yeah, I'm going to take the Jets, not with a ton of confidence, but I just have a feeling that because the Jets defense is so good and Josh Allen is so turnover prone, I think the game could be come down to a field goal.
Yeah, it's a division game. It wouldn't surprise me at all, man. But boy, Zach Wilson's bad. You know what I mean? And that defense in Buffalo has not played well at all in front of their fans, man. At some point, something has to give. I mean, they have not been good at all. Von Miller's been non-existent. Poyer and Hyde have done nothing. I mean, have some pride, man. You know what I mean? I mean, have they won a game in their building all year? Have they won a game in their building since they lost to the Cincinnati Bengals? That was a soul-crushing loss. I mean, who have they beat? All their games I think they've won are on the road. I mean, this has to be a W if you're going to be serious about contending to get to a Super Bowl or at least going to the playoffs. I mean, they're 5-5. You can lose to the Jets here and be 5-6? Horrendous. Next, Minnesota Vikings. They head to Denver to take on the Denver Broncos. Sunday Night Football, Broncos minus 2.5. I like the Broncos here. I do think Joshua Dobbs has been a fantastic story. Not so sure Jay Jettas is going to get activated and play in this game. I'm still taking the Broncos for a couple different reasons. They have won these games with a lot of smoke and mirrors. New quarterback, new team, still trying to get used to what's going on. Denver has now won 2 in a row, sandwiched in between a bye. They have beaten 2 very good teams, and now they're home. Okay, Javonte Williams is running the ball as well as anybody in the NFL. Russ is still good. Courtland Sutton has been an underrated wide receiver this year. Courtland Sutton has 7 touchdowns on a bad team. Jerry Jeudy is okay if they ever do anything and give him the ball. They can still mix in their tight ends. Like I said, you watched that game Monday night, man. Denver is a tale of 2 seasons. They are not as bad as people think. Their defense is very good. They're very good, man. And I think in the Mile High era, they're going to show you why they're getting a lot better. Sean Payton has finally gotten this team to where it needs to be. Conversely, Alexander Madison's on the other side of questionable with a concussion. I don't think he's going to play. I do like Ty Chandler to take over that starting job and make some noise. Hawkinson's on again, off again because he's hurting, but he'll be out there and he'll do something. But I think when you can have to just kick a field goal to win it at home through the Mile High air, that could be a 65-yarders. They're gonna kick that and they're gonna win this bet. I like Denver a lot here to slow down the Purple People Leader freight train. I don't think this team is capable of winning 5-6 in a row like this. Something tells me that everyone's going to be on Minnesota. But when you look at the teams that Minnesota has beaten during the streak, they've all been bums. They've all been bums. And everyone thinks that Denver is bums. Denver is better than people think. I think Denver is going to finish better than the Raiders personally. They're hot right now, man. They're going to win games people don't expect them to win. And I think this is going to be one of them. Home dogs pay dividends, wrap it all up, put a bow on it, and it's a Denver W.
Yeah, this is a tale as old as time for the AFC West. It feels like the Broncos, the Chargers, the Raiders. I mean, literally, they are in the exact same position because of the record. So those divisional games are going to be really, really good. And yeah, the Broncos are playing with a lot of momentum. Not a bad football team, that's for sure. And I think that Sean Payton really did set the tone where he's like, dude, Wilson, you got to stop being such a pansy, man. I think he said something like, there was a quote like that early in the season. It was like something along those lines where stop doing Subway commercials, like all this nonsense, these TikToks and all this
talking about your wife all the time. Play football,
yeah, dude. Just play football, and I think he has, and that's. Well, I'm not excited about it. I hate the Broncos, but I mean,
I hate them too. But
I didn't think they were going to be this bad to start the season, and they're playing more about what I thought they would be. Mm-hmm. So, Joshua Dobbs is great and he's had those like really special moments, but I just think that the Broncos are a much more organized team. They're playing at home. The fans are probably buzzing right now. It's going to be packed to the brim with Broncos fans in this game. Everything about this, I just think screams Broncos to me.
Me too, man. And there's a lot of people out there that are going to be gassed because Jay Jettas is coming back and the Minnesota hype train's going to make the playoffs and Joshua Dobbs looks like Randall Cunningham. Defense wins championships, man. And this team plays hard at home, especially coming off some wins. They're feeling good, man. I love Denver here. I love them a lot. I might put them on a ticket. And then finally, Monday Night Football, my team, Super Bowl rematch. The Kansas City Chiefs are minus 2.5 at home to the Philadelphia Eagles. Look, I don't see a way the Chiefs lose this game. Andy Reid off the bye is as house money as you're going to find in the National Football League. Playing against his old team. This is a team that's said a whole lot of this and that about if the field was this, we would have won that game. If this didn't happen, we would have won that game. Blah, 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 blah. Dallas Goedert is out. OUT. Huge. Kansas City, his entire team has practiced and is healthy. Now, we all know about the drops. We all know about the penalties. We all know about the play calling. We know about all this. This is well documented all over the United States. The Chiefs have not looked like the Chiefs. They've done enough to win. I like the Chiefs in this game for one reason and one reason only. It's because their defense is just going to be a lot better than the defense that won the Super Bowl. Okay? I got to read you something. Let me see if I could find it. It's about the wide receivers that the Kansas City Chiefs have faced this season and what they have given up to them. It's been absolutely mind-blowing when you consider a lot of teams go off. Amon-Ra St. Brown versus the Chiefs, 71 yards. DJ Moore, 41 yards. Justin Jefferson, 28 yards. Keenan Allen, 55 yards. Tyreek Hill, 62 yards. They haven't allowed any studs to go off on them. Those guys are all averaging over 100 yards a game. L'Jarius Sneed and Trent McDuffie are playing out of their minds. And so I think that they're going to hold A.J. Brown down. I think they're going to hold Devonta Smith down. And I think the Chiefs are going to realize that in order to win this game, they're going to have to run Isaiah Pacheco. Even if it doesn't work, you still have to stick to the run. Run this guy. When it's balanced on offense, Mahomes has no problem winning games. It's when he has to play hero ball that things get dicey. The back end of the Philadelphia Eagles is not good. I'm sorry. They're like the Niners where everyone thinks that they're so good because they're Bradbury and Slay. Those guys have been mid all season long, especially versus good quarterbacks. Chiefs are home, under the lights. All you need to know about this game, guys, if you're scared, is go look up Patrick Mahomes on Under the Lights. Patrick Mahomes primetime. Type that into Google and tell me what happens. I cannot take the Eagles here. I'm not on a homer tip, not on a betting tip, not on a handicap tip. I just can't do it, man. No team is going to go with one loss anymore in this league. It's just not going to happen. And if they're going to lose another game, it's going to be here. It's going to be here. Travis Kelce has been quiet recently. Tight ends, eat the Philadelphia Eagles alive. I'm telling you, I love the Chiefs here for all these different reasons. Is the game going to be close? Yes. Is Jalen Hurts and those guys going to do work? Yes. Am I worried about DeAndre Swift because the Chiefs don't cover running backs well? All of the above. But Harrison Butker has not missed a kick this season. Think about that. Guys, it's week 11. Harrison Butker has not missed a kick this season. Not an extra point, not a field goal. I don't think he's missed in practice. That's a contract right there. You get extended off that, and I don't think it changes here. Kansas City under the lights is a tough team. I know the Eagles are very tough. I know that front four, they're tough. But this is the same team that everyone said there's no way they're beating the Eagles in the Super Bowl. You said it. And what happened? I will not bet against Patrick Mahomes on primetime. I'll eat my money. I'm fine losing it, but I don't think it's going to happen. Chiefs win at the gun. 50-yard field goal by Harrison Butker. You heard it here first. Don't be scared. Eagles are not as good as everyone thinks they are. And now they have no Dallas Goedert. I have spoken.
What is the line in this game? -1?
Chiefs -2.5. Over-under is 42.
Yeah.
43.
Oh, man. Maybe the over is the play in this game.
I think so. I think there's going to be a lot of points in this game. I think that's.
Yeah, I do too.
I think the wide receivers are going to play a lot better this week. I think you're not going to see a lot of mistakes, penalties, or drop balls, and these two teams are going to go at it like Rocky and Apollo. I really think so. I think the over is the play. Last time what was the Super Bowl final? 41-38.
Yeah.
I see. I mean, I know the Chiefs defense is better. If you're scared of laying the money on the Chiefs, just bet the over. There's gonna be points in this game.
I think so too. I don't know. I'm gonna take the Eagles, but
you never learn. You never learn.
I just think they have a lot to play for. I think that it's basically the same Eagles team from last year. There hasn't been a lot to change.
It's better. They got Jalen Carter now. It's better.
I feel like everything that the Chiefs were missing in that game, or the Eagles, were missing in that game. I feel like they improved at that position. So it'll be a good game. It's the game of this. It's the game of the year. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
The bye is like the sun coming up in the morning. You've given me 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks to figure out how to beat this team in your building. Dude, come on. That's too much time. Now, I know the Eagles have had a bye too. You know what I mean? So they're going to try to figure out. But if the Chiefs just do what they're supposed to do, I don't see them losing this game. And everyone and their mother's going to take Philly. The tush push, Jalen. I'm telling you, everyone and their mother is going to love. They are going to love the Eagles in this game. Revenge game. Eagles up, dude. Losing Dallas Goedert is humongous. It is humongous. Because you already heard what happens to the wideouts. Those wideouts are getting taken away, dude. Those wideouts, the Chiefs cornerbacks get no respect. I just told you what they've done this year versus some of the best. I don't see how anyone can not take the Chiefs. If it was 3, I would be like, oh, gosh. I see a push coming. I'll take the Eagles. 2.5, field goal wins it. They're going to be fired up for this game. I'm telling you. You are going to see the real – I'm saying this with my chest, man. Enough is enough. You're going to see the real Kansas City Chiefs on Monday night. No mistakes. They're going to punch this team in the mouth because everyone is talking, and they've been talking. And anytime you talk to the Chiefs, what happens? What happens when the Bengals talk to the Chiefs? What happened when Tyreek talked to the Chiefs? What happens? They show up. They say nothing, and then they show up. Chris Jones is going to have a huge game this game. You watch. You guys watch. Go ahead and fall in the manhole if you want to. Chiefs win this game at the gun. Parting shots.
It's a good week. This is a much better slate of football than last week, so it'll be great. This is one of obviously the best matchup of the season. A lot of questions going into a lot of evenly matched teams, even if they don't have the best records. I think that's what any fan can ask for.
Yeah, me too. I agree. My parting shots this week's going to be for the Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow and how you guys are about to be in big trouble because you've lied about the injury. He went into the game injured. He had the brace on, talking about sleeves and this and that. That's all nonsense, and the NFL's going to investigate you, and the same thing happened with Bijan when they didn't report him. And, there's way too much money happening. And, NFL's making money off gambling right now. And the fact that wasn't disclosed properly cost people millions. And they're going to come after you guys. And you're going to lose a draft pick or get fined or both. And you can't be doing this. You know what I mean? If the guy's hurt, I know it's a must-win game, but you can't run the guy out there. You know what I mean? Now, I think the ligament was torn. And he threw the touchdown pass to Mixon, and the whole thing just went. And I think it's sad, and I think you guys are lying. I think all your press conferences speak to you lying about it, how you're saying it, the body language you're using. And I hope the NFL goes after you. And I think they come down hard in you. And I think that this has got to be a lesson to other coaches. Stop trying to hide injuries and stop putting guys out there. I could see a world where Burrow was in coach's office, was like, look, I'm going to play. And coach was like, all right, but you can't tell me that from the bus with the splint wrap, whatever sleeve it was on his thumb, to the locker room, all of a sudden it's off. What happened? Did you miraculously get healed by Jesus from the bus to the locker room? Like, the whole thing smells fishy to me, and I don't like it. And I think it couldn't happen to a better team, and I hope they come after you hard because you deserve it. I mean, it's bad enough that there's cheating that's allowed, but when you're blatant about it and then you're lying about it and it's obvious that you're lying, I hope you lose a draft pick. World of Matchups, Week 11. That's the spit, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Bet responsibly. We are not responsible for you losing your second mortgage, so please don't try to come after us. We do this for fun, not for a living. Enjoy the games. Spencer, I'll see you next week, man.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.